All right. Here we are. I actually got this thing to work. All right. Hey, hi. Since there's nobody listening, I can just say where the fuck I want. This is great. My first live and nobody's here. This was intended to be a message for my ex-Scientology community. I wasn't going to say anything at all, but I keep watching these videos and I keep seeing people talking about this, and I just feel like it needs to be talked about even more. In the spirit of, okay, so much so that I actually wrote something down, which is just very much not like me. So just to quickly here. Oh, that's something I wanted to say real quick. This is a very difficult, weird thing for me. I did not like this community when I was growing up in it. I was born and raised amongst these people, and I did not like them then, and I'm still not sure if I like them very much now. A lot of people, it's hard to change. It's not to say that people don't change. People do change, but change is hard. And I see a lot of people who haven't really changed, it doesn't seem. Ex-Scientologists still acting like Scientologists. In the spirit of full disclosure, though, in Scientology terminology, I feel like I should let everybody know I'm a degraded being. I am a DB extraordinaire, a walking bull bait, a surfactastic, consistently flapping, recovering addict, formerly homeless, certifiably insane, stinking junk and bum. So by all means, feel free to ignore everything I have to say. But recently there's been change is going to come. Oh, yay, Fat Grammy. I've got a fan. So recently there's been this like internal sort of arguing and struggle within this community, and an argument about whether or not it's even a community at all. I do find it odd sometimes that we use the word community, because I don't think Scientologists know what that means. It's a very difficult thing to define sometimes, but community seems to see people as, hey, John Poe, as allies. In a community, there's frankness, there's candor, people yell and scream, but they communicate. They rally behind a common belief or goal. Here, our goals are scattered, our beliefs are scattered, and our goals are suspect. We're not really sure what we're after half the time. Some of us talk about recovery and abuse. That for me is what it's about, this sort of, loving and learning with you, and that's what we're doing. A community, shit, like I even know. I feel that within a community, though, when you have critique and correction, when you have questions, that people in the community owe that to each other to speak to it in some way or another. And too many people, especially Scientologists and especially, the higher ups and the execs, it's all about brushing stuff under the carpet and pretend like nothing's wrong. Nothing to see here, folks. Let's just move along. Nothing to see here. Let's just move along. And it's all very manipulative and coercive, and I don't like it. And it all feels way too familiar. And every time we get one of these fucking posts from Mike Rinder on high, they're vague as shit, tone deaf, and he doesn't ever seem to be really speaking to what we're talking about, only defending himself. Is a whole paragraph and a half about how nothing is ever his fault, everything is Osa's fault. And he has this beautiful out. So what are you going to do? Because Osa does these things, presumably. I wonder this sometimes, though, like when we talk about Osa, it's this nebulous thing. Or, for him, it's people, it's individuals. He knows who these people are. I think he should talk about that. I thought the whole point of SPTV, that's right, was telling our truths and coming clean. But it seems now like we're being told we're best not speak a piece of our truth in defense of somebody in this community who seemingly will not or cannot come clean. And it seems to me like maybe he can't, and that's the problem. In the rooms of recovery, there's a saying, well, there's a lot of sayings. You're only as sick as your secrets is a big favorite of mine. You're also reminded to be rigorously honest, which I really like that phrase because it really speaks to the effort it takes to be honest. It's not easy. It's not something that comes naturally. We're all very defensive, insecure, and kind of scared people sometimes. And in that, it's not very easy to be honest. So we have to work at it. We have to be rigidly honest. And Scientologists are not good at that. We're really good at playing little games and talking behind backs and not really telling the whole truth. And that's what we need to be doing. Transparency is very necessary, I think. um, we're weird. I have a whole thing here, and I'm not sure if I want to read it, but there's one about keeping your side of the street clean. Now in AA and recovery, it's about, not really paying too much attention to what the other guy's doing. The other guy's got his recovery and it works that way. Your recovery is going to be something different. So don't worry about that. But I think in this twisted little community, we do need to kind of like look out, because ultimately keeping all of our streets clean is the ultimate goal of either ending or crippling or getting rid of Scientology, or certainly its more evil practices. I think the tax exemption thing is really what everybody should be going after. But what are you going to do? Get them where it hurts, man. That's the money. Okay, yeah. So I feel like now we're being told we shouldn't talk shit about certain people, like he's a Kubla Khan or something, but he's not. And the fact of the matter is that his dissent is imperative. And that's a great phrase a friend of mine left me a long time ago. We need the crazy man the crazy man or the woman up on the hill, jumping up and down and telling us how we're going wrong, where we're going wrong, what we're doing wrong. And the more you come down on that crazy man, the more you need him. That's Lenny Bruce. And I think he's right about that. And they came down him real hard for telling the truth. Secrets and lies. This community, these people, all of it. Just learning now, coming out of 30 years of chaos and compound fracture that just begins with being born in Scientology, but coming back around and realizing, oh my God, this stuff was horrible. This stuff was so much worse than I thought. I hated it at the time. I rebelled, I pushed, I shoved, but I stayed. Because somewhere in there, I believed in something. I'm not really sure what anymore, but boy, did I stay. And now realizing oh no, something was happening. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just me, right? Something was really happening. We're all being gaslit by this thing all the time, all of our lives. And like anybody can tell you, no matter how much you figure it out, you need that motherfucker to tell you that was real, that you really were being gaslit. And that's what we need from this man, I think. And he knows. He knows more than anybody, and he's kind of trying to play innocent or something, and I don't know why, because I don't think anybody believes he is. I bite the inside of my mouth every time I find myself quoting the old shitheel in charge, Elron bastard in half. But he did say something vaguely salient about communication being the universal solvent. Ironically, we don't talk. Ironically, we're not very communicative. Ironically, we're all very shady, cards to our chest kind of people. Even now, not as much. There's certain people in this community who are very open and beautiful about it. But the people in the foundation don't seem to be on that click. I don't know. Because they don't talk to me, but the people they do talk to, they don't seem to be very nice to. And in that spirit of recovery, also, I'm not even as interested in whatever crimes the man may have committed or whatever he may have done under coercion of that space and that place. He's just as much been hurt by it and abused by it and traumatized by it. And at this point, I think he's just acting like Osa because he doesn't know how else to act. I don't think he even knows what else to do. Somebody says you did something. He goes, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And then acts like it's the most boring thing in the world, right? He doesn't know how else to react to anything. And it seems to me because it would be important to me to know that he knows, because it doesn't seem to me like he does. I want to know that he understands what harm he's done, especially if he's going to be presuming to help people coming back around on the other end of that harm. If he had anything to do with it, which he did, as far as we know, and all accounts and timetables make for it. At the moment, the weirdo, I don't know. I got to stop going on about him. That's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was this community. What I wanted to talk about was how do we, without getting mad, without threats of disconnection or fucking bullshit, how do we talk about all the things we want to talk about, even the things that people don't want us talking about? How do we talk about all of these things? because that's ultimately what we need to do. We need to get it out on the table. This is something they don't do in Scientology. They write it all down and hide it in a file somewhere. It's retarded, literally. But we don't ever, get it all out. And everybody, and I've watched a lot of these. That's what it was. What in this community I don't see a lot of real communication. And none of us are very good at that. But what I do see are a lot of really confused people trying to kind of figure out what's been going on the last 6 months between the foundation and Aaron and this and Miriam and whoever and the rabbit and God knows and Zero Dark 40 fucking Tone 40. And nobody has all the pieces and nobody has all the information. And it's just so very obvious that people are lying. There's all sorts of lies on the line. Another dumbass quote, but there it is. Having these conversations, I think, is important and cathartic. And I think having them publicly is important too, because it keeps us honest, which is another thing that people in general don't have a great time with, but Scientologists even more so. I think, I don't know. We're scared, certainly, but either the weird stigma of having been grown up this way is one of those things that really fucks me in the head, makes it hard for me to talk about. But at the same time, for years, people have been just kind of looking at me funny, like, what happened to you? Like, they can't figure it out. Like, I don't make any sense to anybody. And it's such a relief now to be able to say to people, if I want, I was born in a cult. I was born in a cult of coercive control. And I was stuck in a head game of go fuck yourself for 30 fucking years. And I'm sorry. I'm making up for lost time. Oh, and then I spent a decade drunk on the streets. Okay, so that happened too. So excuse me, I'm still making up for lost time. Yay, hello, G-Buddy. I have more here. I know, I wrote some more things here. I'm very self-conscious, though. I'm very nervous about this. Yeah, that's what it is. I keep seeing a bunch of very confused, fundamentally distrustful people. People are all just kind of looking at everybody going, are you sure? I guess I believe you, but not really. And now what? Failing, and we're all failing miserably because no one is telling the whole truth. Far too many seem to have ulterior motives. Most are scared to make waves because all of our lives, or for a long ass time, any making waves, any asking questions got you in trouble. It got you in ethics. It got you written up. It got you locked doors and coercive control. It got you bullshit. It got you crazy head trips. But now's the time. Now's the time we're supposed to be making waves. And even if we're talking too much, so fucking what? Who gives a shit? Welcome to the internet. Aaron seems to be blaming the symptoms while ignoring the cure, and ignoring the cause rather. And fair roads, fair weather, which is what I feel like what's being thrown at us now is just, let's just keep it nice because an attack against so-and-so is a point for OSA. That's some bullshit A equals A bullshit thinking. Because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, and we're all going to do it in different ways. And no, there is no one valid way. Some people are out in the streets with signs and ridiculous costumes. I love the unicorn. Some people are doing this crazy shit and hoping that somewhere someone will see it and go, oh, maybe there's, and learn something about how to stay away from this or how to get out of it. The move on, right? How do we move on with the problem? With the problem still persists. The fair roads, fair weather concept also presumes that there's nothing really wrong. There's no one really at fault, nothing to blame. It's just, we don't get along, so let's just get along for the sake of getting along. That's cute, but it doesn't really fix anything, and it doesn't get us anywhere, and it doesn't move anything forward. And if we're all, again, so much to me, this live stream, it's stream of consciousness. It's hi, we're just going to talk about our thing and our stuff for a while. And I'm not even, I wrote something this time, but usually it's not. So how do we do that? How do we edit what is right and what is appropriate or who we're allowed to talk about? I spent a lot of time getting rid of filters, and I'm not too keen on the idea of putting more in. I know. Thank you for speaking on this, because what I keep hearing is, don't talk about this anymore. It's boring. Nobody wants to hear it. So people keep coming, every time you talk about the internal fighting, you lose membership and OSA gains points. And I just don't know if that's really the truth. I think that telling the truth is what gains us all points and gets us, fighting points against the cult of Scientology. But now I don't think I know. I don't know what else to say, I guess. I knew this would happen. I'd burn out too quick. I'm not trying to make any demands. I don't want Mike Rinder to do anything but be more honest about who he is, more to himself than us, but in general. Mitch Brisker, he needs to go fuck himself. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know if he owes us anything, but Jesus Christ. I don't quite understand why all the elders here, they were the villains in the past, but we didn't know they were the villains. We thought they were the heroes, but it turns out they were the villains. And now they're back in our lives trying to be the heroes again. And I don't know if that makes any sense. And I don't know how we actually what? Somebody said that really Mike Rinder has no business being anywhere near trauma victims because he has clearly no sensitivity for it. And he was a traumatizer. He was an abuser systematically for a very long time. And I don't think any of us know what he's done internally to deal with that as a person. And I'm very curious. I'm very curious about that more than whatever crimes he has or whether or not Miriam's affidavit exists. Although I would like to know if Miriam's affidavit exists. And I don't think that's a big ask. I don't think that's a lot to ask. And the way that he comes back with the big yawn, like, oh, I can't even remember what that is. It's like, what? That's too familiar, Mike. You got to find a new game. You got to find new voice. You got to find new dialogue. You can't keep talking to us like you're a fucking executive Scientology OSA son of a bitch. You can't just keep doing that. That's even if it's all you know how to do. Learn something else. Scientology does not. It's funny. Empathy and narcissism. These both have come up a lot recently. Whereas empathy, people say, oh yeah, it sounds like he has no empathy. I was like, no, of course not. Scientology doesn't promote empathy. There's very little empathy in Scientology. In fact, you're scolded for, sympathy is low on the tone scale. I don't even know if empathy exists in the catalog. And then also narcissism. All sorts of narcissism breeds narcissism. What I think is funny though is people will also say that somehow it's the empathy that Scientology uses to pull people in, because people who want to save the planet or save humanity, right? That hooks for empaths, right? But then how do we also pull in the narcissists? How do we do this? It's so clever. Oh, somehow he talks to such a large audience. Anyway. And the dead agent. Okay, the dead agent thing cracks me up because this is what they did to me at Gillum's. This is totally what they did to me at Peter Gillum's. They totally smile at your face all the while they're collecting little fucking reports that they don't tell you about. They pretend like they're your fucking friend. And all the while, one of these bitches was soliciting, tell me some shit about Dan. Tell me some shit about Dan. Tell me some shit about Dan. And then they will put you in an office with somebody you never even fucking met before. And they're going to, oh, see, clearly you're a problem. You've always been a problem. They did the same thing to Aaron. They did the same thing to Alex, the Apostle Alex. So this is part of the game. So Mike, when you apply the bullshit Scientology game tactics, we're going to think you're a fucking OSA plant. That's you. That's on you, son. Take some responsibility. Or find a new gig, man. Find a new voice. Find a new set of just find some new dialogue, something. Every time he puts it out there, it's always a page and a half about how OSA's fucking him. OSA's fucking him. I'm sure OSA's fucking you. But you know what? You're fucking other people. And that doesn't mean you get to just hide behind OSA's going to talk shit. Yeah, it's also people who have legitimate reason to talk shit are also going to talk shit. That's how it works. And that's why you have to hear people out, especially in a fucking community. But I don't think he thinks of this as a community. Of course not. Nobody. I mean, I don't know who does. Even my brother doesn't. So, I do. I crave community, man. I need it. And I got some of that from AA, but those people were weird too. And I get some of that from the queers, but those people are weird too. Oh shit, everybody's fucking weird. I suppose everybody who feels like a real urge for community, need for community is probably fucking weird because we don't have it, right? We're all big island misfit toys. Tactics he designed, tactics he's been promoting, tactics he's been specializing in, the HBO documentary made this point beautifully about David Miscavige, the mischievous Miscavige. I'm not saying his real name no more. I know how to say his name. I'm not saying it right. I don't have to. But that dumbass, they made this point about how, like, outside of the church, he's kind of useless. He has no real utility. He has no formal education. He's not even that bright. He has there's very little work going for him. Only in Scientology is he a big, powerful, big man that he wants to be, little Napoleon that he is. We're all weird, baby. Thank you. And this is true of Rinder too. Like, outside of the church, he's not important, and he doesn't have a formal education. I'm not sure he has a whole lot to offer. And he's going to try to, like, force himself. And I don't know how does he get into the foundation in the first place? Because he was on that TV show. Why was he on that TV show? Because he was second rung to the other guy, Rathbun, right? So he went back, or whatever he did for his kid or something, right? So Rinder's in there. Why? Exactly. And he's wondering that himself at some point. So I think he lied about that fucking affidavit just to prove his utility to Leah Remini. And now he's got to answer for that. Either that was a lie you made up, or you fucking lost it. Are you kidding? I don't get it. I'm still making music. Yeah, but right now we're talking about crazy shit. All right, John. Thank you for stopping in. Why Dan Quayle? Why are we bringing back Dan Quayle, Mr. Anderson? So I don't know. Is there anything else to say about this dumb shit? I would like to see this community work a little better. I would like to see us all get along a little better, but also tell the truth and talk shit if we need to. Not one or the other. Not either keep your mouth shut or be a community. I don't think it works that way. I don't think anything ever worked that way. And I think the more we tell people to be quiet, certainly me, I wasn't going to do this. And then they say, don't do this. And now I'm like, oh, well, now I got to do it. Shit. Mr. Surfactastic. I suppose that's only funny to me. And I don't know. I feel like Nora can't be alone. She can't be the only one out there talking shit. Queers, we're loudmouths because, that's something we learn. We learn that in our community. We learn how to get big and yell and hope and holler and stomp our feet up and down and look fabulous doing it. Okay. So I should actually click this, right? Oh wait, there it goes. All right. What are your thoughts on someone encouraging shunning in this community? No, that's my point. No, I don't think any of us have any fucking right. I think that that's the Scientology way. That's the point of it. It's like used to be the thing, do the opposite of whatever so-and-so. If it's the Scientology answer, do the other thing. Find something else. I think shunning is stupid and heartless and damaging and traumatizing and useless. And if you feel the need to shun somebody, that means you don't want to deal with it. That just means you don't want to have that difficult conversation. That's what that seems to me. Why are people being shunned? I suppose somebody must be. Oh, I love it. People tune in to watch me smoke a cigarette. That was on here. All right. I think that's all I want to say then, I guess. Thank you for those of you who tuned in. Next time, I'm sure it'll be a little more interesting. And I promise I'll sing a song.